On today's episode, I have Nic Lonsdale. She talks about her business, Ginger Books, and the first 2 years of running that business. We talk about her social media strategy and how that's allowing her to get lots of new leads every single month. We also talk about things like speaking gigs, her acquisition of another company. So loads of great bits for you to take from it. So this is the Eardley Bird Podcast with me, Oli Eardley, and as always, sponsored by Ad People. Where I'd like to start the podcast is where I always start the podcast, which is just really about you as a person and the journey to getting where you are now. So I was wondering if you could talk me through that, first of all.
Sure. My journey was a little bit unconventional compared to most. I started off in sixth form and absolutely hated it after I left school, and decided to go into an apprenticeship. So I did that, and I found an apprenticeship with the AAT, which was in an industry-based like type of apprenticeship. It was in like a little bathroom shop. It was quite quaint, and I was there for about 10 months, and there just wasn't enough work going on. So I ended up moving into the motor industry. So still staying in the industry, still staying within the finance departments, but was in the motor industry and transitioned out of the apprenticeship, which was like normal day release, into doing the qualification of my level 3 at night school. So a little bit different to standard way of going into accounting, really. Usually you have like your block of time where you go and study, but I was like doing my 9 to 5 and then having to go and do like a 6 till 9 or 6 till 10 at college at night, and it was twice a week. It was fun. Met lots of people, gained loads of experience, carried on through there, moved into construction, carried on doing my level 4 and then qualified. And then 3 months later, I was like, just wasn't feeling very fulfilled. I was like, I need a challenge. A big driver for me was like wanting to travel. I was like, I need to balance something for traveling. Like, how do I make this work? And that's where Ginger Books really launched. And this was nearly 2 years ago now, which is super exciting. But that was just like a whistle-stop tour of how like I come through the qualification into business, and we're here 2 years later.
Perfect. And so the main driver behind the change was just flexibility in travel. Is that right?
It was. It was really. Go on.
I was going to say, have you traveled much since you did it?
No, I haven't traveled anything since I started. However, I just last month, I think it's a month ago today, actually, booked a one-way ticket to go to Bali. And I'm going to go spend 6 months this year here working nomad life in Bali.
Wow. Okay. So when was that? When are you going?
June 15th.
June
so
15th.
Not long.
Wow. Okay, cool. That's really cool. Right. So in terms of the business then, so you've launched the business, Ginger Books. Talk us through that. How has it gone? The first 2 years obviously can be quite tough for some businesses, but let's hear how it's gone.
Sure. So the first year was really difficult. So I'm like 19 months in now, but the first 12 months was really difficult. It was because it wasn't like a pre-planned phase out. I literally jumped into it, quit my job, went straight into it. Personal reasons contributed to that as well. Had like a small pot of savings, which was my travel savings. I was like, right, that's going straight into the business. And it was, I had no like role models in my life that have set up businesses. I'm the only one in my family that has gone and done something like this. So I didn't have anybody's expertise to lean into. And it was all about trial and error that first year. I knew I had to get out and start showing my face. I'm in Birmingham. There's a lot of big accounting firms here as well. It's like, how do I set myself apart from these? And it was really the first year was, I didn't have it clear. It was trying to find what my mission is, trying to find who it was that I wanted to work, pulling on the different industries that I've worked in, who was it that I enjoyed working with, what does that look like for me? And as I said, it was a lot of trial and error, and I didn't get it right. Start off with, pivoted a few times, but one thing I really knew that I wanted to do was make a difference to how people view their finances and the mindset around it. So yeah, that's sort of how it's went the first year. Now it's just hit 6 figures. So it's been a journey. very like a month into starting, I set myself a goal that within 18 months I wanted to hit six figures, and it took me 19 months. I'll take that. I'll pat myself on the back for that. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of changing strategy. I was doing a lot of face-to-face networking at the start, thinking that might have been the route, and now I'm just leveraging social media in all of its capacity, and the leads are raking in, and it's coming. It's going really well now.
Perfect. And there's a few things that you mentioned there that I want to pick up on. So one of the first things was about you're the first in the family that's launched a business, right? So there's no one that you
Yeah.
can turn to and say like, how do I do this? How do I register the business? How do I do this, that? How did you go about doing it? Was it all just, I'm just going to wing it and see what happens? Or did you find a mentor? How did that look?
Pretty much was winging it. And I was very lucky to find a mentor that I was able to freelance with. And I learnt a lot from her. I've actually now, full circle moment, just completed a client acquisition deal with her where I've taken all the clients I was looking after. I've just completed that acquisition for her. She's pivoting her business away from accounting and bookkeeping. So that was just really full circle, really wholesome to be able to come in as like a mentoree to her to then take over all of her clients. But that was more on the practice side of things, like understanding process. Again, coming from industry, I've not had that rigid practice structure. It's very much running around and having plant teams come to you or buying teams come to your HR teams. It's very different to how practice is set up. So that was my mentor on the practice side. But I recognized very early on I need business coaching. And I enrolled onto the NatWest Accelerator program and I've been there for the last 12 months. I knew I needed to invest in myself, and NatWest really aligned with what they want to help, how they help with entrepreneurs and their mission that they're on. So did that for, say a year now. And then I've also invested in some private coaching as well into myself, which has been phenomenal. Like all around the areas that I'm not used to. Never had to sell before, didn't have to market before. You sit in a finance department, you don't learn all these skills, and I knew I needed to understand these skills. So that's the route I've gone. It's been a huge investment into myself in order to gain that knowledge and experience.
Yeah, I love that. There's a few areas I want to talk more about, like the NatWest side and private coaching as well, which is really, really cool. And I'll come back to the fact that I kind of skated past the six figures part, so we'll definitely touch on that again. But let's start with, you mentioned before, you're like, you want to work with certain type of people, the people you want to work with. Who are they and why, right?
Yeah, sure. So they're women founders, and the reason why is as a woman myself, I think it's important to champion other women. As I've said, I was in motor trade, I was in construction, I was in very male dominated industries, but that's been my whole life as well. My background is football. I've played football. I've coached football, yes, in girls teams, but it's a very, not so much now, women's side of it is growing, but it's always been a very male, obviously dominated sport. And having that growing up, it was women can't do this, women can't do that. And it's no, women can, and that is really where I want to help, is help women have the clarity, empowerment and confidence to master their numbers and have complete confidence within their finances.
Perfect. And you mentioned about, again, we'll dig deeper into the marketing side and the sales side later on, but you mentioned that you originally were doing face-to-face sort of networking events, then moved to social media. I will let's part that for a second, because I'm sure people listen to this about how has that worked. So I'll ask that, but we'll touch on the NatWest stuff first and the coaching. So talk me through the NatWest side. How has that helped you, and how does that sort of work? But talk me through that.
Sure. The setup's changed a lot since starting. They're evolving and innovating as they go. But the first 6 months consisted of every 2 weeks being there on a Wednesday, and there was workshops that were put on, and the workshops was around sales, funding, finance, marketing, leadership, all areas. Not so much the finance, I got that covered, but the other areas that were weaknesses that needed to be turned into strengths. But having the like-minded people, there was over 100 business owners that was on that cohort. So obviously you don't speak to all of them, but you gain some very good relationships, and it's all around the relationship capital that you build while you're there. And now I have some as clients. Now I have some as people that I refer work onto, and I can just call upon. Some are now friends, which is really nice as well. Which it was just really empowering to have a community that you could depend upon. You get a coach, a designated coach. I have a really good relationship with that lady, and just having that support and that guide and that mentorship where you can just go, this is what's the problem, and you realize that other people have the same problems as well. We used to do we did an exercise, it was called group acceleration, and you got split off into different groups, and you would spend 20 minutes and you would talk through a problem that you've got. So you would talk about the goal that you want to achieve and where you're currently at, and then everybody will feedback their ideas, and you go around the group and you go, oh wow, there's actually many people that have a similar type of issue. And you just pour on everybody's perspective and expertise in different areas. And it was so invaluable. That helped me grow so much within, because that was 6 months into the business. That helped me grow so much during that first year.
So would you, it sounds like you definitely would recommend that to someone who's
100%.
Is it typically sort of early on businesses, or do they have more established businesses there? How does it sort of look in the room?
It's, to be honest, it's a bit of both. It's people that find a bit of go to a stagnant and then want to carry on growing and just need help in different areas. You've got people that just have business ideas. You have people like me that have just launched that need a bit of help. What I love about NatWest is they're just about helping businesses survive and thrive. They have just went to their 10-year accelerator birthday celebration last week, which was super fun. But they've made a commitment that they want to help 10,000 businesses in the UK over the next 3 years, which is unbelievable. Like, the support around small business and the help that they can provide is invaluable.
Sounds great. Honestly, it sounds mint. And in terms of the other area that you're sort of self-developing, the private coaching, talk me through that. What have you been doing there?
Oh, everything, honestly. I invested quite a chunky amount of money into the course, and we go to like a mastermind day every single month. They're based down in Essex, and the mastermind days is amazing. There's like 200 people in the room, and you've got businesses, again, from startup idea, but this is up to £10 million businesses. So you've got a massive scale, people that have been there, done it, can give you feedback, can help you grow, and it's really invaluable. What I love about it is they really care about educating. Their mission is that they want to do £1,000 million businesses, want to help people to get to £1 million, which is my next goal. I know we're going to talk about goals in a bit, but that is my next goal. Now I've done 6 figures. I want to get to 7. It's not a vanity thing. It's the opportunity and the freedom that comes with it as well. And they've just been so great. They've got online like masterclasses that they put on. They have a coaching program that you go through on the app on school, and it's all areas of business that you don't think of. They really take you through the foundations. They take you through the top of funnel, how to get leads, how to build a funnel, and all of the things that are really tricky that it takes hours trying to figure out, days, weeks, months trying to figure out, and just having that team where you can go, right, I'm doing this, can you help? And they do. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, that sounds great. It's always good to have those. They're almost like little shortcuts, right? Rather than having to go and figure out or ask ChatGPT, how do I do this? It's like, it's better just to have that conversation with people. So yeah, great. I love that. Next thing I want to talk to you about is your client acquisition, the acquisition that you did. So that's obviously quite a cool thing. It's something that I'm sure other accountants may go through or want to go through or have been through. So talk me through your experience doing that, and maybe some areas that were maybe you wouldn't do next time, or you would, areas that you thought were really great and you would want to push forward and do again. So talk me through that.
Sure. So the conversation come up probably about 6 months ago, and it just I wasn't in the right position to do it then, which was, it's a bit gutting. I was like, I would have loved to, but it's not right. Luckily, she put how the brakes, some things happened with her in her personal life as well, which just really consolidated the in her mind that she wanted to sell them off. And she thankfully come to me and was like, I want still going ahead with it, still want to give you first dibs. This is the revised offer that I'm proposing. And we had a little bit of negotiation around it. Got it for a good deal. The biggest challenging part for it has been the onboarding of all the clients, all of that admin that goes into it. I'm very fortunate that she uses a lot of the same softwares, and because I have been freelance with her, she's allowed me access into, rather than sending all the professional clearance to her and her getting to do it, I can just go into a system and just put it all off. I've been very grateful. It's been a very easy process in comparison to, I guess, most other acquisition deals. And she's been there for support through the whole thing. And I think because I've already got that relationship with the clients as well, because I've been working with them for the last 18 months, that it was naturally a very easy transition in. And they were very supportive, very happy about it. And it's no different because I've been their point of contact anyway. And I just remain their point of contact. I'm just now under Ginger Books rather than the other company. Which, it's been tricky. That has been the biggest challenge. And I think obviously it throws up a load of objections from clients as well. Go, well, what does this mean? And what does that, like, a little bit of panic. It's like, no, it's okay. Like, we're literally just picking up from one and then dropping in another. Like, I'm still your point of call. I will still do everything, which has been, I've been really fortunate, really fortunate.
Well, it's cool because you obviously had that relationship before, which most people going through an acquisition won't have. So it'd be interesting. Did you lose many clients in the process? Because obviously with a lot of acquisitions, that tends to happen. There is a bit of a drop off.
Yeah.
But how did it look for you?
So I anticipated, standard 80-20 rule. I thought 20% will drop off. 10% dropped off.
Oh, and wow. That's really good.
Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing when you think about it. From what my margins in. But yeah, and that was simply just, they wanted to change anyway, and it just didn't align with them, which is fine. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it's like normal clients. Like, it's cool. I have no issue with it. I'm working with some really great people from it. They have some really exciting things that they're doing within their businesses that I'm thrilled to be a part of. So if any, I'm just honored. Very humble.
No, that's really good, because I'm sure most people that have gone for an acquisition that are watching this are like, oh, I wish I had a 10% drop off, because usually you don't have that relationship, right? So yeah, that's really, really interesting. Next thing I want to talk to you about is the business growth then. Obviously you mentioned the first year was tough, was slow. And now you're at sort of 6 figures. Talk us through how that sort of panned out.
I'll be honest, it come from the coaching. It come from part of the coaching. I had 3 retreats included within the package. A retreat around business foundations, a retreat around sales, like closing deals, and a retreat around business model and plan for the next 12 months. The pivot really came from my sales. Having that sales retreat, it was very intense, and it was 4 days, like 12-hour, 13-hour days, very intense training, but very real as well, and provided you with skills that I had never learned, because sales has never been anything part of my skill set or part of my job. I didn't have to sell, just sitting in a finance team, producing management accounts, sorting out accounts payable in my earlier days as well. So having nothing to then going, okay, just little nuggets of unbelievable gems to come in and go, this is how I'm going to change this. I had 100% sales conversion in March, which I wouldn't never have had 6 months ago. It's coming from investing yourself, but actually taking the action. It's all good turning up to these events and going, oh, this was really good, had a great few days, and then doing absolutely nothing with it. There's no point of that whatsoever. It's actually implementing it and taking the action, which is the reason why you're investing in yourself anyway, to learn the new things, and seeing the results from it. So yeah, that had a massive change of it, and it helped me secure 3 of my highest ticket clients.
Perfect. And what would you say is the biggest takeaway from the sales training that you went through?
It's just conversation. It doesn't need to
Conversation.
be a rigid process. It is a
Yeah, yeah.
conversation.
Fair enough. Okay. So next question I have, obviously the growth has looked good. You've really elevated your sales game, which has meant you're getting in more clients. But I want to talk about how you get those opportunities now. So you've already kind of touched on it before about face to face, and then it went
Yeah.
on to social media. So talk me through what you've been doing, how that looks.
Yeah, sure. So the first year, as I said, was face-to-face networking. I joined BNI in my
Hmm.
first year, um, which I thought to myself, I just need to get myself out there. I need to get my name out there. I need to build my own network as well, and
Hmm.
find different professionals in the industry that I can refer work onto, and likewise.
Hmm.
And I did it, and I don't want to shit talk them at all. Like, I don't want to do
Yeah.
that, but it just didn't align with me, and I think
Sure.
that might have been. I just don't want to take it, as I said, I don't want to take anybody and everybody, and you can
Mm.
get it's all like referral based, so you're waiting for somebody to go. Oh, I've had a conversation with someone that needs an accountant, but they could be an e-commerce client that I don't want to touch.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not my field that I want to work in, and it's very much what the waiting game for somebody to come with that one golden egg, they call it, of a client, which is, it doesn't feel like it's as, how do I explain this? It's, you're always waiting on somebody else, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not taking the action yourself,
Mhm.
and taking control about who it is that you can get coming into your pipeline.
Yeah, yeah.
And whilst that side of it was my downfall, I met some very great people. So I do recommend doing face-to-face networking and getting into the right groups.
Hmm.
Find the one that works for you. BNI didn't work for me, but I met some great people. I've done like
Hmm.
other pieces of face-to-face, but NatWest was face-to-face networking.
Hmm.
Even though you were there turning up, the coaching is face-to-face networking. You do pick up clients from this
Hmm.
because everybody, it's like a hive mindset. Everybody wants to go and do well and push forward and
Hmm.
accelerate and grow. And if they see you're doing well, then they want a piece of what you're doing and want to come and work with you. And then likewise as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's sort of where I've got the first lots of it. And I don't think I will ever stop doing some type of face-to-face networking, to be honest. I think
Hmm.
it's invaluable. It's how you
Yeah.
really then build on the next stage of the foundations of a relationship.
Hmm.
But the pivot come from understanding who my target audience was,
Yeah.
realizing that it was the young women founders just setting up businesses, the content creators that don't have a clue what to do with their money. And
Hmm.
it come from working through the business foundations with that coaching course and going, right, who is it I want to work with and where am I going to find them? And
Hmm.
I looked at my current strategy and realized, okay, well, face-to-face networking, I'm not going to meet these people
Sure.
in this area. How do I do it? Well, I'm not going to invest my time into a strategy that isn't working. Let's invest the
Hmm.
time into social media. And that's the launch. That's when my launch of my personal brand came, of the Ginger Accountant.
Hmm.
Launched that properly in February and just really started elevating myself. And from that, it just leads to just coming in and relationships that you don't even realize. Like I'm taking on a new team member in a couple of months, and that come from her just dropping me a message going, seeing what you're doing, love what you're doing, would love to be mentored by you. And we've
Oh,
started off a working relationship like that, and there's so much more opportunity and access through social media compared to be stuck in a room every week with just the same people. As
yeah.
horrible as it sounds, there's no disrespect to them at all. They're great people to spend every week with, but it just, there's more available for you on social media.
Yeah, it's a much wider net, isn't it? You're going to hit a lot more
Yeah.
people. And one of the unspoken areas of it, one of the advantages is the recruitment side. A lot of people don't even consider the fact that people are going to be like-minded and going to be attracted to you working with you. So there is that side of it, as well as the leads. Obviously, you'd want to obviously grow
Exactly.
your leads, grow the amount of business you get, but there's all other sorts of benefits that are involved. So talk me through the specifics then. So what platforms did you focus on first of all?
So I realized that the people I wanted to work with was on Instagram. So I went very full in on my Ginger Books page on Instagram, and I've grew that organically. And I have a lot of high engagement from it. I'm not in the multi thousands at the moment. I wouldn't class myself as really, really big in terms of social following, but I have very good people that I have engaged with through it, and growing my network. So yeah, Instagram was the first point, and that's where I also focused my personal brand on. And I realized that in terms of the actual network within itself, within the industries on LinkedIn, and there is
Yep.
also so much opportunity through LinkedIn as well that can come from it. So they're my two main platforms, and I dabble with TikTok. One thing I want to do is like just make sure that I go deep and drill down and get the gold on Instagram first before focusing solely on TikTok, because
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's very much people flip between the two. So who you find on Instagram, you'll typically find on TikTok as well. And
Yeah.
you can repurpose your content, but I don't have like a full TikTok strategy. My strategy is around Instagram and LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's almost better to, in my opinion, to nail one platform or nail. You don't want to spread yourself too thin, because then you got to be thinking you almost become a full-time social media manager then, rather than rather than an
Yeah.
accountant. So, so I get why you're taking it step by step, getting working. So Instagram, first of all. So you mentioned you have a few thousand. What does that look like? How many thousand followers do
Sorry,
you have?
that was my bad. I haven't got a few thousand. I'm getting like, it's not there yet, but I've grown it organically.
Okay.
It's my bad. I may not have said that correctly.
No, that's
Um,
fine.
it's around, I think I'm just about to touch like the 700 followers
Okay.
mark on it. But I'm not overly fussed on
No, it's
follower
not about. Yeah, it's
metrics,
not about
I'll be
that.
honest. Yeah, it's cool. People look on your page and go, "Oh my God, you got this many followers." It's just vanity for me. I'm more bothered about the type of content that I put out and the impact that it has on the people who are
Mhm.
seeing it. The education, the inspiration, just providing them with a safe place to go to ask questions as well, knowing that I always say like DMs are always open. Like
Yeah.
I will reply, always reply, and I love a cheeky voice note. The amount of times I reply with a voice note and everyone's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. Like this was really nice to hear." So slightly because I can't bother to type, it's easier to talk.
Yeah, I love the voice note features now, because it's just like I think a lot of the time you can get lots of messages, especially on LinkedIn, of just automated messages. So I almost just cut through the noise and send a voice note. It's always, for me, it's one of the best ways of doing it now.
Yes.
Okay, so about 700 followers, which is,
Yeah.
you're right, it's not about how many followers you have, it's about what impact it's having. So you
Yeah.
mentioned you're getting some opportunity from there. What does that look like? If you had to put a number on it, let's say per month, how many messages are you getting that are kind of business
Oh,
related?
I'm gonna say around the 50 mark. I'll be honest. I get around
Okay.
50 messages a month. And you as a so like nearly 2 messages a day. It's
Wow.
not mega. They're not all leads, but there's some of them are again people within the industry that want a little bit of advice, want a little bit of mentorship, and it's nice that it really warms my heart that they are women founders themselves,
Hmm.
and even though I'm not going to be selling directly to them in
Hmm.
terms of my accounting service, but having that network that I can rely on, and that I can refer work onto, and just if someone's not right for me, I have options as well
Hmm.
around me.
Yeah.
So yeah, around about 50 messages a month.
Yeah.
And probably it's about 15 inquiries at the moment I get
Right.
through Instagram a month.
And how long have you been doing that? Did you say February? Was it this
So
February? This year?
yeah, this Feb I launched my personal brand.
Wow.
I started the Instagram very early on in the business, but didn't go properly into it until about September last year.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that has really generated since September and really pushing the content out on there.
Hmm. No, perfect. That it's a great return already. 15.
Yeah.
If you would have gone back in time and say, right, I'm going to get 15 inquiries a month from posting on here, it's a no brainer, right?
Mm.
Um, what sort of content do you put out on Instagram?
A lot of educational stuff.
Hmm.
How to, what does this mean? Like all of that lovely stuff. But I like to motivate as well and give people
Okay.
the empowerment to know that they can go and take control of their own finances, and what that means for them as well. And you've got to love a little bit of like a day in a life, what's going on. And people are nosy. People like to see what you're doing as well. So
Yeah.
I do like to share what I'm doing. I put a post up yesterday of like a March recap, and had a crazy March, some brilliant things that went on in March. But people want to see that, and they want to see your journey. It's just about being authentic and not trying to overstate what I'm doing, but just be real and just be like, this is what's going on. And people vibe with that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good mix straight away. You've got some educational, motivational, but then people want to see what's behind the curtain, right? They want to understand who you are as well. So no, that's perfect. Do you know, and it's a bit of an off the cuff question, do you know what your best post has been?
I do. It was on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And it was from literally it was so weird, and wasn't one of them that I really thought about. I threw it together. It was through National Apprenticeship Week.
Right.
And I was meeting up with some ladies that I'd met through the coaching stuff, and I was waiting for them to turn up at the cafe. And I thought, I need to through this post together about what it's like to be an apprentice, a little bit of advice to apprentices, hit post, and walked away and didn't check my phone, like my LinkedIn again, for about 6 hours. And that's done over 80,000 impressions on LinkedIn, which is skyrocketed any of my other sort of metrics. That was my best performing one on there. For Instagram, my biggest performing ones are the educational ones. Like, what are your tax reliefs? What are your tax brackets? What can you claim back? People love them because they it's information that they need to know. And that what seems so normal for us because we work in it on a day to day, having somebody that doesn't have a clue, doesn't understand any of it, and they perform really, really well.
Perfect. And you mentioned about LinkedIn, and you kind of touched on the fact that it's less, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was less about attracting your target audience here, but more about the networking with your industry on here. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, definitely. Just being like, the way I see LinkedIn is that's how I'm going to establish myself. Like, I know leads are going to come from it, but I'm not trying to sell so much to them. This is what information I have. This is how I can help, pieces and nuggets, and really showcasing to the industry like who I am. And from that, it's gained me speaking events. I'm speaking at Accountex next month.
Yeah.
You going to be there?
I'll be there. Yeah, I'm speaking on day one.
Amazing.
Are you there day one? Because I know are you day two?
I am day two. I am going to be there day one as well, though.
Perfect. Well, we'll catch up day one. Unfortunately, I'm in Brussels. I'm in Brussels the next day, so I can't come to you. But yeah, we'll definitely catch up on day one.
Yeah, that's
do you know
exciting.
what I like about what you've been doing here with social? It sounds like you're very, very intentional about how you're approaching each platform, and you've really thought about it. And I can tell that it's probably something you've done either with coaching or you thought about properly ahead of time. Whereas a lot of people just think, I'm just going to post almost semi-randomly, with some bits and bobs, maybe some advice here. But you very much know who your target audience is and who you're trying to attract on each platform, which is, for me, probably why you're having quick success with it. It's usually, sometimes can take a lot longer than what you've sort of seen already. So yeah, I really love that. But whilst we're on it, we'll talk about the, talking and Accountex and that side of things. Have you done a talk before at an event?
I have. It was with the Business Expo. They have loads of different expos around the country, and I did one last June. That was the first one I did through the networking as well. The BNI stuff, you do have to get up and present as well, so that's helped with that sort of presenting skills to the room. But on that scale is going to be my biggest one, and I'm very nervous for it. The title for it is Zero Clients, Zero Clue, and 22. The real truth about starting up a firm.
Yeah.
So it's going to touch on a lot of the stuff that we've discussed today. But I mean, I was very young setting up the business. I mean, I'm only 24 now, but that's super young to just go and start. And I just hope it inspires the next generation coming through, of apprentices, of grads, anybody that wants to go and be their own boss, to know that they can do it, and that their goals are so they can achieve it. And yeah, I just want to inspire the next lot coming through.
Perfect. No, I think it'll be great. And it's one of those with something like Accountex, yeah, there'll be a good amount of people there. So it should be an intro. We'll catch up afterwards just to see how you found it. And I'll tell you how I found it as well, because I'm nervous as well about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. I haven't actually written any of the speech yet, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm in the process, but we'll get there.
Anyway, so talking about, so that's what you've been doing so far. Social media, going in the right direction. Certainly, you're picking up inquiries, picking up leads. What's the goal from here then? Are you looking to grow even faster, or are you looking for a steady growth? What is your goal as a business?
It's fast growth. I really want some fast growth, but I do also realize I am going to be out of the country for 6 months, but there's nothing stopping that growth. Hence why everything is now on social media, because it's not going to be any different over there. I'm just going to be 7 hours in front. To be honest, I'm actually really looking forward to it, because the way I see it is the first 7 hours where everybody's asleep here, I can get all the work done. And then when everyone wakes up, I can be on my phone and available. So I think it's going to work really well. But yeah, fast growth, as I said, taking on my first member of staff, and just, accelerate it up. But it's going to come from really the personal brand. The strategy's there. It just needs executing. Yeah,
so personal brand, just growing that, building on that. And I agree. I don't think there's much limitations nowadays of being abroad. I mean, I have clients in America, I have clients in South Africa. It doesn't really matter as much anymore. You can still have those meetings as long as you work around, find the right times to have those conversations.
Exactly.
So, I don't see any issue with you being in Bali for 6 months. I'm very jealous.
Thank you.
So in terms of that growth then, so personal brand is one side. Have you looked at other options, other ways to push the brand out there?
Yeah, automation. I use a CRM system, which I'm in the process of really trying to automate everything on it. Because manual time to put into it is so draining as well. Automating it. I'm taking on a social media agency as well, that they can do all the posting side of things, and help create it. So I know what my strategy is. I'm working with them to only improve my strategy, and execute it. I know that's going to be a weight off my shoulder as well. It doesn't mean that I want to stop creating the content. If anything, I think it's going to accelerate the content. I know that I can be very present. It's not that I feel like I'm inconsistent, but sometimes I can be posting 7 times a week, and then I can go the next week because life catches up with you, and you're blocking your diary out for certain things. May not always get the content side blocked in, and the next week it's only 1 or 2 posts. I just want to make sure that it is very consistent, which I know which will help with the growth.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the hardest parts about personal branding is the consistency and actually sticking to a schedule, because even I find it's stuff like, I need to post something today, or I need to do this. It can be a bit up and down. So yeah, having someone there just to manage everything and to basically organize everything is massively helpful when you've got a million other things to be thinking about.
Definitely.
Yeah, cool. How about diversifying things? Have you thought about other platforms in terms of socials, or other platforms in terms of Google or Bing? Have you looked at any other options in terms of marketing yourself?
I have, but as I said, I want to dive in and go deep and get the one right. I know as all my leads come from social media, so in terms of like Google SEO, yes, I know it would be advantageous, but again, being in Birmingham and I'm putting your certain keywords in, I'm bidding against the like of like Assets and Jerem's that have big marketing spend that they can go and push on the SEO side. And I'm sort of like, well, do I want to compete with that? probably not. My competition is going to be through going and building a personal brand and people coming to work for me, rather than because they've seen an advert on Google when they've Googled accountants near me. So not so much on the Google side, maybe later down the line, but for now it's not 100% where I want to go down. The website is there as to generate inquiries if people land on it, and to have the extra information there, and really like just be like sort of a base point that people can refer back to for extra information if they need to. But it's not my main push through the business. It is
like a brochure style thing at
yeah
the moment.
that's a perfect way to put it. I love that. It's a perfect way to put it, brochure style.
Yeah exactly. I think you actually raised a really interesting point there, and it's something I do hear a lot actually. I don't want to compete with the massive companies, because you are right, like the standard commercial things like accountant in Birmingham or whatever is going to be taken up by a lot of those companies. I think when you do look at SEO in the future, I think the angle that you should take is in around the educational side. So common questions that you get from female founders would be something I would recommend to you. But then also building it around your target audience. So what I am thinking of another person that I know, she built her website in and around things like accountants for influencers and accountants for X.
I know who you're on about.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about almost finding those little niches that appeal to your audience, rather than thinking those big commercial terms like accountants or chartered accountant or whatever the keyword might be, where you're right, these people are 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 years ahead of us, so we need to be a bit more clever about it. But
Definitely.
I think your strategy so far makes absolute sense. You might as well use you're your biggest asset, right? You're the biggest differentiator that you have. So using your personal brand, and then eventually when you do want to look at Google, really in order to get around that problem that you just talked about, that's the way I would go.
Yeah, thank you. I think as well, like there's nothing stopping you from building that presence on Google. Like part of my strategy for the next quarter is to really incorporate blogs into it as another source of traffic through the website, but also to have the keywords in there. And because you are constantly putting then something out on Google, they're naturally going to boost you anyway. Like I have looked into how all of that works. And again, having the blog there, if it's touching on VAT for influencers, what does that look like, and someone puts that in, the blog will come through, and I'm going to try and attack it that way rather than whack all the money behind it. Just try and save the capital.
Exactly that, and it goes back to that brochure thing that we talked about a second ago. It's like, if your ideal person sees you on social media but then looks at your website and you've got loads more useful information through blogs, I'm putting it all together for I think it's a good strategy, that. So perfect. Love that. Let's talk about let's say your biggest challenge at the moment. What you've mentioned, automation there. Would you say that's the biggest challenge, or is there any others that you're facing as a business owner?
So I am very tech heavy in my business. A lot, like all of my softwares like link into one another, but I think it's really the marketing side automation that I haven't got nailed. Something like when someone messages you and you can create an automation to reply back to them, or the comment, or at the moment it is me, every comment, every DM is me. And I'm replying to everything like a mad woman sometimes, but having a little bit of an automation around that, which doesn't take away from the personal side, but if it's understanding, if it is an inquiry, just sending the correct link through. It doesn't need me to go, right, we're going to get a call in, like this is a sales process, like in a roundabout way, here you go, book it in. Just having it to identify what is an inquiry and what isn't, rather than just going bang, 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 automation and taking away the personal element of me. I still want it to be with me. But automation on that front, funnels. That is my next challenge, automated funnels. That is a minefield within itself, and trying to learn it all. So I'm learning. I'm through the coaching. I'm learning about them, and I'm building
Mhm.
out like on paper what my funnels to look like.
Yeah,
And I'm just going to delegate it out. Find someone on Fiverr or Upwork that it's their specialty,
Mhm.
rather than trying to eat into my time. Because you either pay with
Yeah,
your
yeah,
time, money, or your relationships, your capital, your people.
yeah.
And I have not got the time to invest in it now. I need to look at other areas to grow the business, and
Mhm.
just outsourcing that will help that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially if your personal brand's building up more and more, that having proper funnels and ways to capture those opportunities is going to massively help.
Yes.
And on the automation side, it sounds like you already have the only warning sign that I would sort of highlight would be taking all the personal side out of it. But it
Mm,
sounds like you are considering that. So I'm not going
yeah.
to dig into you or anything there because I think you kind of already get it. Yeah, 'cause there's nothing worse when you're just like, oh, this is just all AI, right?
Yeah, I know. And
It's
you
almost like,
can spot it.
yeah, exactly. You can have a bit of a splash of AI, right? Just to make life easier, but you still don't want to make it so is that all right? If I want to speak to Nick, it's just gonna be a robot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. No, that makes perfect sense. So funnels, a bit more automation in terms of the marketing side certainly makes sense just to save all of that extra time. Um, are you trying anything else new this year? I know AI is like the big thing and everyone's talking about it, so I don't want to overly talk about it on the podcast because everyone's eyes sort of glaze over at this point. But anything else that you're using that maybe other accountants could be thinking about and it'll help them?
Oh, I use ChatGPT every day. It
Yeah.
is the person I speak to the most. That is sad.
It's your best friend.
So
Huh?
it really is. I have it on my phone. The voice bit when you got the little widget on the front
Yeah.
screen. I literally click on that and I speak to it. I've trained it so much now. I've got the pro version that it really understands me, and
Mm.
that cuts out so much of my time. Like I will write a quick email, copy paste, drop it in there, rewrite this, polish it up in my brand voice, and it just does it because I'm physically speaking to it, so it picks up
Yeah, yeah.
how I talk now.
Mm.
That's been a game changer for me.
Wow,
Um,
yeah.
and I do want. It's difficult. You want to balance AI with human, and it's finding the right strategy with that. And I think moving as I am for 6 months, it definitely needs to have that element in it. But in
Mm.
terms of things I've got going on, I was supposed to have launched a podcast this year, but
Mhm.
life went crazy with the growth. I was like,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
on earth am I going to do this? Like running around.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've decided it's being pushed back and it's launching December this year.
Okay.
So that's super cool. That's going to be the next part of the strategy. That's the next thing that's coming in, another
Mhm.
lead mag. And yeah, pushing on the speaking as well. Want to try and get into more speaking things over the next
Mhm.
12 months for sure.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I can understand why you've pushed the podcast back because I can take it from me, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. And kudos to you because so much goes on behind the scenes of setting it all
Yeah,
up and getting it all right and the branding right. And it's a
yeah.
whole business within itself.
It totally worth it because I think from a time investment perspective, you get to meet loads of people you wouldn't usually
Yeah.
chat to, right? And that's probably the biggest advantage. You almost get a new group of I'm gonna make it cheesy now, but friends and people you know. But yeah, it is a lot of work behind the scenes. I've got a guy in my team that helps with the editing side of it as well, which takes up quite a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there is a lot behind it, and I love what you said about the Chat GPT as well, because not a lot of people would have potentially thought about the talking to it side of it, right, and just doing the prompts, typing. So I actually really like that. It's not something that even I've thought about. I have spoken to it before, and I'm gonna again it'd be a bit cringy now. Last year I was really bad at networking. Well, I've never really done it before. So I started last year, and before networking events, I would talk to ChatGPT and be like, right, okay, what sort of questions should I ask? What would be interesting? Blah blah blah. So yeah, you can use it in lots of different ways, but yeah, that's how I used it.
Yeah, it's so powerful. It is really powerful, but I also feel like it's killing creativity
Yeah, I suppose.
in a little way. You can be creative with it, but you can also be over reliant on it. So it's finding the right balance.
Yeah. I mean, and this is why I kind of lent towards podcasting, because I obviously wanted to put out a lot more content myself. And I just thought everybody else is just doing AI text stuff, and a load of people are doing that. So I was like, I just want to do something a bit different, which is why I like the fact that you do your educational videos. And I think video content is a lot more important now. Otherwise, people just kind of assume that you've just thrown up some pictures and asked ChatGPT to write you a cool story about X.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I think it's cool. Speaking, how are you planning on getting more speaking gigs?
Reaching out to them. I went to Fab, so Fab's in Birmingham, and I went last month, and I literally just walked up to the main desk. I was like, I'm from Birmingham. You've got loads of women on here. It's going great, but no one from Birmingham is on here. Hi, I need to be here. Just got an email address and emailed them. So yeah, there's one for that could potentially be going on, and it's sometimes you don't ask, you don't get. You just got to throw yourself out there, put yourself out there and not be scared.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think asking for what you want is definitely important. That's the only reason, like, again, I wouldn't have the podcast if it wasn't for asking, because I met Rachel Harris at Accountex last year and I didn't even have a podcast. And I was like, hey, do you want to come on the podcast? Right. Just as like, now I'm going to have to go and do a podcast because she said yes. So yeah, definitely ask for what you want. So no, that's some really cool stuff. There's a load of really interesting parts there, lots of really useful stuff as well from a social media perspective. I think you've got some good stuff in and around automation and you know, all the stuff that you're doing is really cool. You're moving in the right direction, right? So I think it'd be worth us, again, I say this to a lot of people, but it'd definitely worth us catching up again in about 12 months just to see where that growth looks.
Oh, that would be amazing. I'd love to.
Yeah, because I think with the uplifting your personal brand, it'd be interesting to see how that develops over the next year, especially if you bring someone else into the team or hire an agency to build in that consistency.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how that looks. So
I love that. Yeah. It could be a proper little series that could. I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. So if someone was watching this now and they're like, I just want to get in touch with Nic, I want to ask her a few questions, what's the best way of doing that?
Yeah, so Instagram, The Ginger Accountant. That's my main personal brand. You can also find me at Ginger Books. Books is BUCKS, not BOOKS, BUCKS _limited. And you can also find me on LinkedIn at Nic Lonsdale, MAAT.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you spending the time, Nic.